Hi, I'm CJ Altenberg with Transwest Truck Trailer RV in Frederick, Colorado. We appreciate you tuning in this morning. So today, if you are in the market for an extra tall, extra wide trailer, this is one you need to pay attention to. This is a really cool setup we have right here. It's a 2022 Cimarron Norstar 4-horse gooseneck, extra tall, extra wide. So before we dive into this trailer, let's take a look at the drawing because I want to kind of show you what I'm talking about a little bit here. This is 23 foot on the floor, so not a massive trailer by any means, but we're 7'6" wide, there's our extra width, and we're 7'7" tall, so there's our extra height. So if you're a customer with warm bloods, maybe you have some really big horses, these trailers have become so popular over the last couple years. We see quite a few trailers out there in the marketplace, customers looking for those 2+1s, these type of setups here. Sometimes some customers want a slant load rather than a straight load when it comes to these warm blood horses themselves. But even if you're not pulling warm bloods, this is a really cool setup, again, if you're looking for that extra width and height. So let's kind of walk you through this. First and foremost, with it being a Cimarron, we're talking all aluminum construction. So, really lightweight, but really extremely well built, and I'll talk to you about that as we're walking through this trailer. Underneath the gooseneck here, pretty standard. We just have a manual hand crank jack, spare tire located to the left of it. One thing about this setup that Cimarron does is our handle actually stores over here to the right, but our handle obviously to crank the trailer up and down, but it also doubles as a lug wrench. So you've got that on hand on the trailer for you whenever you're going anywhere. One thing that we do here at Transwest is over the years we've just noticed that these newer trucks continue to get taller. Doesn't matter what manufacturer it is. For a while it was Fords and Dodges, and then GM kind of followed suit on their new body styles by going up about 2 inches of bed height on their trucks as well. So one of the issues that we struggle with is getting adequate bed clearance, but also keeping the trailer level. What we want is this trailer running level going down the road. You have 2 axles. We don't want it tipped back, all running, all that weight on that back axle. So again, we want the trailer running level, equal weight distribution, but then we want bed clearance. And what you'll notice is on some older trailers, you get one of the two. You'll either see the trailer with plenty of bed clearance because it's nosed up, or it's barely any bed clearance because it's nosed down, but it's running level. So what we've gone in and done is that industry standard's 50 inches from here to here. That changed in the early 2000s. That was 47. But think back at that time, there was a change in all of the manufacturers. Again, trucks got taller. So in the trailer world, we compensated for that. Well, it's happening again, so we need to do it once again. So instead of being 50 inches, and it's actually from about right up here, it's about 6 inches from this tube on this bottom rail to the bottom of the box, we've gone in here on these type of using trailers, made them 53. Yes, we eat 3 inches into the gooseneck, but on this one, we actually added 6 inches of height compared to the standard. So we're really not changing the gooseneck height and capacity and just storage capability up there in that nose of this trailer here. But by having 53-inch gooseneck drop, we can get bed clearance. We usually shoot for about 6.5. On these type of trailers, we really want to be about 8 inches, and that's what we're looking at right there. But then we can make sure this trailer is nice and level. Now we do take it a case-by-case basis. If we're dealing with air ride where we lifted the box up 2.5 inches, or we're dealing with 17.5-inch wheels, 19.5-inch wheels, the trailer's taller in general. So when that happens there, we don't have to worry about it as much. We keep those at 50 inches, but these are 53 right here. One of the other things I wanted to show you on this is this door hold back. This is a very small, minor option, but Cimarron's gone in and made this standard on their 22 models. So normally these holdbacks come off this trailer 90 degrees. There's no wiggle room. We can't go side to side, up and down, obviously can do. But by having this ball in here, boy, it's really easy to open and actually attach it to the door, and then also releasing it as well. So it's a very, very small option, but it is so handy when we're actually holding these doors back and open by having that, and also releasing it. So what we're going to do is we're going to look at this front tack room. We're dealing with a 4-foot short wall with a 4-foot offset. So this is an 8-foot long wall. So we have this bigger, longer wall over here on passenger side. So we've gone in and we've made this a 42-inch door going into the tack room. Now normally they're 32 inches, but this one here we've gone in and add 10 inches. It's just really nice from the standpoint of when you're bringing items in here, maybe you're bringing some totes into your tack. Boy, it's just nice to have that big opening coming in here. You also noticed that we have a fold-up step. We really like adding those on. It's really well received out there when we bring a trailer in with options by putting that fold-up step on there, because it's so nice, making a nice smooth transition coming up. We're not having to make that big step up into this gooseneck. Everything's carpeted here on the gooseneck deck and deck wall, and then we have an 18-inch boot box that goes all the way across. These 18 inches are just massive. You can actually put buckets in here. When you're dealing with the 12 inches, you can put some buckets in there, but they have to be the smaller buckets, obviously. But this is a great place for smaller miscellaneous items, and it's a great step when we jump up into the gooseneck itself. On the right side of the gooseneck, you've got a clothes bar right there. So you'll be able to actually hang your clothes going to an event or a show, anything like that, can hang right up there. We put some hooks up here with some carpet behind it. And then we put a pass-through door on this trailer so we can go from the front tack room into the stall area or vice versa. Now before we wander off, I did mention you could bring tack in here. Well, there's no saddle rack in here, but if you notice on the floor and up on the ceiling up top, there are locations for a removable saddle post. I'll show you here in a minute when we get to the back of this trailer, but we have a folding rear tack room, but I can bring that saddle rack up here if I'd like. So this is somewhat of an interchangeable tack room for you. If you want tack up front, you can have that capability. If you want to leave it in the back, maybe you don't want to smell those type of items, you can keep it in the back of the trailer. You've got 4 bus windows. Cimarron really does a good job on trying to utilize as much space and try to get as much airflow in these trailers. Because on bus windows, you only get half of that airflow when you're looking at the window, because only half of it slides open. So they try to really maximize and get as big a windows as they possibly can on these trailers. 16-inch awning light. We've gone in, we've put one of those on each side of the trailer. So if you're loading, unloading at night, tacking up, untacking when it's dark, you've got some light coverage out here. And then standard on the 22 models are these button lights for marker lights. It's just really clean. It might not look like much in the daylight, but when you get these trailers in the dark, those light up just as well. These LEDs are extremely bright, and we really like that. Some trailers we go in and add quite a few to the trailer to kind of dress it up a little bit more. We have 2 7,000-pound rubber torsion Dexter axles, 16-inch aluminum wheels. These are balanced and nitrogen filled as well. So by having them nitrogen filled, we're not going to have PSI levels fluctuating drastically like air will. But if you do have a slow leak, maybe you caught a nail, a screw, something like that, and you need to put air to these, you can. But you're not, and then at that point you're not getting the benefits of nitrogen. So you can go find a nitrogen fill tire distribution center, more than likely is your best bet. They'll be able to go in there and fix our hole, but also then go ahead and top it off with nitrogen. One of the other cool things is you have a 1-year no questions asked warranty on these tires by the vendor of Cimarron. Whether that's a nail, like I mentioned, road debris, maybe you have a blowout, anything along those lines. If it can't be fixed, they will replace it. 1 year, no questions asked. And then 2 years of roadside assistance. Another thing on these Cimarrons, from a cost standpoint, is if we do have an issue where we tear up a fender, these are bolt-on fenders. They're not weld-on. So it's a lot less labor on swapping that out compared to a weld-on, where you'd have to cut off the existing and then re-weld a new one on there. Now as we work our way to the back of the trailer here, because we went with some extra width on this one, we kept the rear doors at 50/50. Now, if this trailer was standard width, which is 6'10", no wheel wells, typically on these you're going to see the right-hand door as our 60 and our left-hand door at our 40, so that 60-40 setup. So a little bit wider on the right. But because this is a wider trailer, we've got the ability to keep it at 50/50, so it's easily accessible, maybe not as narrow getting in this folding rear tack room. Same thing on the right-hand side there. So here's a good look. Like I mentioned, folding rear tack room. That saddle post, that 4-tier saddle post with pads, 2 blanket poles, I can remove that and put that in the front dressing room if I'd like. Maybe now I want to utilize this for some additional storage back here. Maybe that's some feed, some bedding, muck buckets, anything like that we can do there. Or I can remove the post, put it up in the front tack room, and then collapse this down and have it as a little bit more of an open, wider accessibility to this rear tack room. So I'll get the blanket bar out of the way there, and then we head up in here to the stall area. These are real heavy duty dividers. This is the same extrusion that Cimarron uses on the outside of their trailers that they actually use for their dividers. So we have a stud divider at 1, so maybe some additional storage, or you have that one horse that needs to be separated from everybody else, you've got that capability. And we've gone in and added pads to these as well. That was an upgrade that we did to this trailer here. So we have pads on all dividers. Then what we've got is we've got kick mats on the hip wall here. You'll notice these big paddle latches for the dividers themselves. They're real smooth, real easy to operate, and safe for you and safe for the horses. We're not having to hold the divider in place, dropping a pin in or removing a pin. It's simple as slam it shut and then release it. The other cool thing is this is a heavy UHMW plastic piece, so we don't have that metal to metal contact with the divider. And this is an aluminum cast piece that's been powder coated. So everything's got a radius, everything's smooth, nothing protruding out. Same on the dividers. They do a great job on putting a radius on everything for just horse safety itself. Now, when we were talking about this trailer being extra tall, extra wide, we've done one more thing here in the stall area. We've actually gone in and made these stalls 3 inches wider than standard. And the reason why is bigger horses, bigger bodied horses, let's give them a little bit more room. Let's make them a little bit more comfortable. So again, we went in and added 3 inches per stall over standard because we know we're dealing with those bigger horses. Now, I talked about all aluminum construction and how well built these Cimarrons are. We are standing on the industry's best floor right here. This is a 12-inch deck piece that interlocks tongue and groove, high and low, 4-inch centers. So those are the I-beams that run across this trailer, and Cimarron's gone a step further and put a truss in the middle. Every 4 inches apart, now imagine hoof size of a horse. Wherever you're standing on a Cimarron floor, you're standing on a support beam. As other manufacturers, maybe not as good a quality, if you look at their floors, their centers start spreading apart. Now horses are standing where there is not support, so that's starting to create those pits and waves over time. So easiest way to tell quality of an all aluminum trailer is look at the floor. That is the easiest and simplest way. Crawl underneath and look at how far apart those centers are. And then they top it off with an insulated roof. So it's extremely strong, but also it keeps the stall area cooler. So our horses are more comfortable. We keep it about 20% cooler than an aluminum sheeted trailer out there, and we've done quite a few tests here at the lot with just thermometers on hot days with a sealed up trailer, just looking through the window, looking at the temperature. It is a major difference in temperature itself. And like I mentioned, it's strong. I can walk on these roofs, it won't dent them, take substantial hail. We get to deal with some hail here in Colorado in the summer months. You have these two-way roof vents, so with our bus windows, that insulated roof, two-way roof vents, drop windows that I'll show you here in a little bit, we can manipulate airflow quite a bit in these trailers, keeping horses nice and calm and comfortable in these trailers. We're not getting the rattling and clanking, keeping them nice and cool. From a heat standpoint, A little bit of air movement makes everyone feel a little bit better. I tell everybody is, you know, you can be out somewhere, it'll be miserably hot, no wind, and you don't feel good, but a little bit of a breeze will kick up, and boy, it makes you more comfortable. So with that being said, here's a good look at these drop windows. So big, massive drop windows, big bus windows, insulated roof, two-way roof vents. Again, we can manipulate that airflow, keeping horses nice and cool. But this is the other thing I love about these Cimarrons is this big framed windows on drops. The doors are the same way. There's a lot of mass to these doors. You feel them when you grab them. It's not a piece of paper. It's not a prefab window or door anywhere on these trailers. So we get these big openings, again, create airflow. You do have jail bars that fold down. So if you wanted to get some corner feed bags, we can get those ordered for you. If you want to drop some water into a horse, something along those lines with a bucket, you can do that if you get stopped somewhere with these jail bars. But again, you just feel the weight of these when you open and close them. A nice solid seal. These are a lot of weather stripping on these. When they go to shut, they're shut. Welded hinges with grease zerks, so from maintenance, kind of like I mentioned about the wheel wells, you know, these are a lot easier to maintain than just a welded grease zert. We can actually put grease to these and maintain them. Something gets a little squeaky, we can go ahead, put a grease gun to it. There's actually a groove in the pin that Cimarron's done, so it actually feeds that grease throughout this whole hinge right here when we open and close them. But there's also a drip rail. So you'll notice some manufacturers will take another piece of aluminum and weld it over each window or door after the fact, where Cimarron has actually created an extrusion specifically for their tops of doors and drop windows to keep moisture from getting into those windows or doors and those seals on really cold nights, freezing up to where you can't open or close them. And one of the other things is now this drop window is not as big as 2, 3, and 4 because it's in the escape door, but some manufacturers will just put a bus window in this escape door. They don't like to do a drop window, where Cimarron has gone in and done that. And then here we've got our escape door jumping into that first stall. We have a chest bar going across there, so if you do open it and a horse is there, we've got that for safety purposes. But again, if you want to use that first stall for some additional storage, if you're loaded up, you can hop in right here. But we really like these escape doors on these type of trailers when you do have that stud divider, because again, we can utilize it for some other things as well. So again, really cool trailer from the standpoint of extra tall, extra wide, bigger, wider stalls as well. There's items that maybe you want to add to this trailer. Maybe you want a rear ramp. Maybe your horses prefer that. We can do that here. Maybe you want a hydraulic jack. Maybe you want a hay rack. Those type of items we can add on after the fact here. So kind of customize the trailer to your specs as well, even though the trailer's already built in here. But if you're interested in this trailer, we have it on order in a 3-horse as well. Maybe you want to custom build something. We'll give you the stock number for reference. Again, it's a 2022 Cimarron Norstar 4-horse gooseneck. Stock number is 5N210309. So again, we've got other trailers on order. Maybe you don't need the extra height and width. We've got those trailers on order as well, different tack setups. We can do whatever you want with these Cimarrons. Give us a call. Anybody on the sales team can help you out. Our number is 303-684-3400. Thanks for tuning in. Have a good day.